That's right, boss. We got the humans and all this gold. And then the human says, I got the leverage because my inside man, who was your inside man, was actually my inside man the whole time because I gave him the recordings who said, you have the recordings, which the bartender had the recording who said, you have the recordings. And it's the sidekick giving the human the gun. And he says, sorry, boss, I got the final leverage. Working with these humans means I'm going to be the top cyclone on this planet. He's literally the only cyclone on the planet.
I can't help thinking, somewhere in the universe, there has to be something better than man. Has to be. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ascensions to 10.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, we're back.
Back for another one.
After a break.
Well, yeah.
Break for us.
Break for us, but we're still here.
Missed you, man.
Yeah. Missed you.
Spenny went on vacation.
Yeah, I went to Mars.
Mars.
Or Arizona, because it looked just like John Carter, where we were at.
How was it?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. It's actually funny because the movie that we're going to talk about today was the first thing my dad said to me when I saw him, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, listen to the podcast." He's like, you should do this movie. Like, it was so bad, and he's like, I can't remember the name exactly. And then he's like, Battlefield. I was like, Battlefield Earth? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it was so bad. I didn't even finish it. And I was like, well,
that's great.
That's what we're going to do.
Full disclosure, it took me a couple sittings to get through this thing. I couldn't handle watching it the whole in one sitting.
Little off our normal schedules, so we usually watch them on the weekends and then record on like the weekday. And I had to power through last night, and I watched the whole thing straight through, and I was just like, this cannot be a real movie.
Yeah, it's a mind bender. If you've heard of it, Battlefield Earth, and if you've heard of it being a bad movie, it's worse than you've heard. It's worse than you think.
It's unbelievable. We'll get into it in a little bit and go through everything, but yeah. I don't think we're going to spend time really going through the plot all that much.
No.
I think we'll just kind of talk about the inconsistencies and terribleness of it. But
there's one thing I wanted to ask, though, getting back to your vacation.
Yeah.
Did you end up going to that Oregon pizza place?
Oh, we did not.
Oh, man.
I know, it would have been a good story. There's a place down in Mesa, Arizona called Oregon Pizza. And it's a giant organ that plays in the middle, and it's a pizza place. But it's really just for like people on big bus tours to stop and get pizza and hear some giant organ rock their world.
Yep.
We talked about going to that, and then my mom decided not to because says, tour buses are welcome. So she's like, well, maybe we shouldn't go to this.
Oof. In high school, we went to this place actually freshman year because we went to Phoenix, Arizona for a band competition.
Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
Competition. Right. Yeah.
So the Fiesta Bowl has this parade, just like the Rose Bowl parade and everything, where it's common for high school bands to go and march through the parade. And then there was an associated nationwide marching band competition that we were a part of also. And
which we lost right away.
Yeah. So it was a 2-stage thing. So you performed, the bands performed once to see if they would qualify for the finals. And after all the bands had done their, I guess, preliminaries, everyone's sitting in the bleachers, or the stadium actually, because it was whatever stadium is in Phoenix.
Was it? It was the baseball. I think it was baseball stadium.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And the announcer came on and said, the following bands will have made it into the finals and will be read in alphabetical order. So we went to Brandon Valley High School, and right away, the following bands have made it to the finals and will be read in alphabetical order. Broken Arrow.
Yeah, that's exactly
So
what I remember.
We knew immediately that
They were like, okay, we're
just
done. Let's go to the community center and go swimming.
Yeah. And
Go to the wave pool.
the wave. Oh, I forgot all about that. The two things I remembered from that trip were activity wise, outside of the marching and stuff, were we went to this place called Rawhide, and it was this, I guess, Western style, saloon-y type thing for.
Yeah, it was like, well, there was games and stuff, and then there was like like chuck wagon food kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I that was where I had these like super thin jeans that were super soft, but I totally just ripped them all the way down the butt crack, all the way down my leg. So the whole night I was walking around this hoedown thing.
Oh, there was a dance, right?
A giant tear in my pants. Like there was nothing I could do. So it was like 3 hours of that.
So awesome. And then so many of us bought these cowboy hats, right?
Yeah.
There was I don't know, some kind of flea market or something attached to it.
Associated to it.
And so there's so many of our friends had these feltish brown cowboy hats, right? And I couldn't, for some reason I was delayed in getting to that area. And so I wanted a cowboy hat to blend in, and that shop was closed or something. So I went to the nearest shop that had a cowboy hat, and the only thing there was this white plastic cowboy hat.
It's a plastic
and
cowboy hat.
I just got completely screwed on the price. I think I paid 5 times what everyone else paid for their cowboy hats, and all I had to show for it was this stupid white plastic cowboy hat that got crushed in my bag going home. Oh man. But then there was this, we went to this Oregon pizza place, and we didn't really know what it was. It was just a pizza place that the 100-ish of us were eating at. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, this gigantic circle in the middle of the room opened up, and this guy in an organ spiraled up, like did a 360 on this organ thing. It was playing dramatic organ music, and then it was 15-ish minutes of organ music that we didn't. I mean, we weren't.
Don't
expecting.
even remember the pizza.
Yeah.
Doubt it was any good.
Yeah,
just remember the organ coming up. Oh yeah,
good times.
Memories. But we did go to this place. It's called Antelope Canyon. It's on Navajo land, so you have to have a tour guide that's there to do it with you. And it's like these really small caverns, and you have to go down these really steep stairs to get into. And like you can see the sunlight coming through into these canyons, and they have like this, I don't know, like shiny kind of rocks that kind of highlight or reflect the light. So when you're in there, it kind of feels like full daylight, even though you're kind of in the shade. And it just like everything about it was reminding me of like Mars and John Carter. It was just so funny because I was like, I feel like I'm
that gold cave where he gets teleported.
Set. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
oh man,
but it was a lot of fun. We also went to the Grand Canyon, which also, again, like Mars. So
nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back.
Thanks. Glad to be back. Not sure I'm excited to do this, but
when I suggested this at the end of last episode, I thought, well, I'd never seen it, Battlefield Earth, and I thought, well, let's get another kind of low-hanging fruit movie that we can just kind of dunk on,
Yeah.
But I feel dunked on. I feel like I dunked on myself. So
you had to put yourself through this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God, this movie fucking sucks.
Yeah. Sucks. Honestly, how did this thing get made?
Well,
I mean, the jokes are, worst movie ever made. And
yeah,
so I had to look up. I looked up, well, obviously Rotten Tomato, gave it 3%, which I'm amazed that it even got
that's
a percent.
generous. That's generous.
Yeah. But so I think was it the last episode or maybe the episode before, we talked about Razzies.
Yeah.
And
For
so
After
this
Earth,
one,
right?
yeah, After Earth. Yep. This one for the year 2000, I think it was 2001 that those awards came through. Worst actor, John Travolta. Worst supporting actor, Barry Peppers, who plays the second guy. Worst supporting actress, Kelly Preston, which she
Who the fuck is that?
plays. She's there's this scene. There's a scene in this movie where there's this girl at a bar, and John Travolta's character is talking to her, and all of a sudden her tongue sticks out, and it's like 18 inches long, and it like shakes like a snake. So they gave her, she got
Nice.
she got an award for that. And then worst screen couple, John Travolta and anyone sharing the screen with him.
I was thinking maybe Forrest Whitaker, because those two are on screen a lot together, but
Yeah.
oh man.
It also got worst director, got worst screenplay. And then in 2004, Razzies came back to dunk on him to tell him it was the worst, quote, drama of the first 25 years of the awards of Razzies.
Oh man.
And then in 2009, again came back to dunk on him with worst picture of the decade.
Has John Travolta ever since come out and said, I regret this? Or is he,
I couldn't find a lot. I mean, there's a lot of like controversy around the Scientology since L. Ron Hubbard wrote this book and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I couldn't find anything on that.
See, when I was watching this, I remembered that around that time there was chatter about John Travolta becoming a Scientologist. And what I was thinking was that the chain of events would be he did this movie and it was so traumatic for him that he had to turn to Scientology. But in reality, he was a Scientologist.
Yep.
And met with L. Ron Hubbard, who was a science fiction writer that created the Church of Scientology based off of his science fiction writing. And this movie was an adaptation of one of his dumbass books. I don't know. And so I guess it makes sense either way, because the whole thing is a fever dream of madness. And
yeah.
So it makes sense that a Scientologist would make this.
So L. Ron Hubbard wrote this. He wrote it in 1982. Fun fact, he composed a soundtrack with the book, and it's called Space Jazz.
Whoa, I didn't know this.
And then this book was over 1,000 pages long.
What the fuck?
So he wrote this, and then it was actually his first novel, like sci-fi novel he had written since the 1940s. Because the 1950s, I think it was when he started doing like the Dianetics and then Scientology.
Okay.
So very interesting. 40-year break, and then jumps into 1,000-page thing.
Well, I mean, this movie was 2 hours long, right? It just drug on and on. So it makes sense that it was based off of a 1,000-page book.
Right. But like what, I mean, I'm never going to read the book, but like what did they have to take out just to make it fit into 2 hours? I mean, my gosh.
Jeez.
But the other thing, so the director's name is Roger Christian. He actually is an Academy Award winner. He won Best Art Director for set decorations in 1978 for Star Wars, the original.
Well,
And then in 1980, he was a nominee for Best Art Director for Aliens. But then he also won Razzies for Worst Director because of this movie. So, interesting.
You win some, you lose some, I guess.
Yes. Also, see that we're trying to avoid actually talking about this movie. So Franchise Pictures is one of the companies that helped produce this. And they did it with Entertainment AG. And Entertainment AG ended up footing like 60 to 90% of this cost. And Franchise Pictures actually defrauded them like $75 million. Because the case was that the budget was listed as $73 million. but the actual cost was like 40 million. So this actually went to court in 2004. After an FBI probe went to LA federal court. They had inflated the cost of the film and tried to pad the numbers for the company, which actually happens in the movie, ironically enough.
Yeah, about the gold, right?
Yeah. And then they had to pay 121 million in damages, which they couldn't pay, so they filed for bankruptcy and is gone.
Wow.
But
Wow.
It was just funny. There's so many just complete debacles with this whole movie. It's not even just what was on screen, but what's happening behind the scenes.
Do you have box office numbers?
Oh yeah. So technically the budget was 73 million. I don't know how much it was actual. I did put in for account for inflation too, so it'd be 120 million in today's numbers. Okay. And then box office itself was actually 29.7 million back then and 48.9 in today's numbers. So it was bad. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh.
Well, do you want to get into it?
I suppose that's I don't know. Did you make a?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I tried to keep it simple. It's year 3000 and Earth has been taken over by an alien species called Cyclos. Humans are endangered species on the planet after almost being wiped out by Cyclos invasion. A small rebellious human named Johnny Goodboy Tyler sets off to win back Earth, battle the Cyclos, and restore normalcy to his beloved planet. That makes it sound better than it is.
That makes it sound way better. Nice work.
Yep.
All right, let's just do this, I guess.
I mean, so opening scene has just like a flash of this cheap looking Battlefield Earth saga of year 3000. It just looks.
The font was so bad.
It just looks like somebody took like clip art. Yeah. It was just green.
Microsoft Paint font, overlaid from this, space shot of Earth that was, I don't know, someone painted it. Some third grader painted Earth or something, and they slapped some green font over top of it. And
it does. And it was, and then right after that, it goes into these like flyovers, and it was Tremor 6. It was Tremor 6 flyovers
of mountains and snowscapes, and which they're never at, right? They're never in the mountains. They're in a quarry,
never near snow or anything.
So
and then it just moves into, so you finally see like the first character, and he's riding a horse coming back. And, like, he gets off his horse, tries to hand something to this lady because apparently it was medicine.
He says, "Yo, I got the pills," and he hands her a bush, and this other person immediately says, "Oh, your dad's dead, and you're too late. Your dad's already dead." And then
he just launches a rock.
No, and the audience should picture every scene that could be thought of as dramatic was slowed down. It was slow-mo, 30 angle shots of the most generic crap you've seen, and everything is slow-mo and super dramatic. He throws a rock and screams no at the top of his lungs. And then it launches into them. It's apparently primitive humans, cave.
Well, yeah, it's another like, we're in the future and all the human beings are primitive. Like nothing got transferred to them after the invasion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We didn't even talk about that. Right. So some aliens came in 1,000 years or 1,000.
Well, I talked about it in the synopsis.
Oh yeah. So. Oh, okay.
Well. Anyways, but they're like doing this like dance. Like after that, it's like they're dancing around like tribal people, and they keep calling him Greener because the grass is always greener on the other side, and he's like never settles or satisfied or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard his name once in the entire movie.
I mean, he basically he takes off. Like he's got to do something to help his village because people are starving.
Yeah, they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to wander off because there's monsters and dragons. And he says, "Oh, and also, I guess the gods punished the previous humans for whatever. It doesn't matter. They're supposed to stay where they are." And he decides that he's man enough to leave.
Yep.
Immediately runs into a dragon, and super slow-mo dramatic shots of him falling over, and it turns out it's a friendly looking dinosaur.
It's like an animatronic or something.
Well, it's from a
Is it
miniature golf
miniature,
course, and it's just this friendly looking dragon that he gets afraid of, and then he all of a sudden has a golf club that
just beating
he looked like he always had, and there are these two other bandits or people that came and were going to eat him. So he goes off on this adventure alone, finds and is afraid by this dinosaur putt thing. Immediately, two other noobs come in and say, "We're going to eat you. We're going to kill you and eat you." And the I guess negotiation was, don't eat me and show me where the gods are. So they said, "Okay, we'll go show you the gods and then we'll eat you." They go to a shopping mall and they say, "Okay, it's dinner time." And
that's it.
And then the aliens start just blasting them with these little Nerf guns. And
this whole, so they're in this mall and like they start getting shot at, and one guy gets hit, and it looks like a giant laser tag set.
Yeah,
like it looks like they're in somewhere where you play laser tag. It's like it's got the green and like green lights and stuff. Then he gets. I mean, they all get shot, but at the end, this guy gets shot, and he slow-mo crashes through 5 panes of glass that are all like 4 feet apart. He gets shot in the back, and it looks like he's just gonna fall. And then all of a sudden, it switches angles, and he just keeps flying through panes of glass.
And that weren't there in the previous shot.
That weren't there in the other shot.
Around, he gets shot, and then he's flying through this glass. And they're not walls; they're just panes of glass in this room.
Yeah,
they're not windows. They're not sectioned off rooms.
Unbelievable.
So they get captured or whatever, and they get taken to this. I don't know.
Yeah, they get taken into a ship, and they're flying, and then they get to the place, and like they land, and then they can't breathe because the air's toxic or something.
Yeah.
And this whole thing is based in Denver.
Yeah.
And the aliens built a city with glass on top of Denver. So the ruins of the city are underneath. They live on top in this dome. And apparently the air is, they can't breathe oxygen. So they have this, whatever system to help them breathe. But humans and everybody else have to use these like little nasal things to breathe.
The dumbest thing I've ever seen. We should describe the aliens, I guess. So they're humanoid in appearance. They have gigantic, basically cone heads, and they're supposed to be really tall. And so the way that the costume department made that happen was they just walk on these ridiculous stilts.
Yeah, high
obviously
boots.
Stilts, and the boots are size 55 or something.
Yeah, yep.
And you see them walking around, and it looks just so dumb. Them just kind of waddling around, and
it looks like. Honestly, it looks the stuff they did. It looks like from the 80s. Like I could have seen that in Krull.
Yeah, for sure.
That and the Cyclops.
Yeah,
what was better?
Sure.
Yeah. Jeez.
Okay, where are we at? They get taken.
There's
prisoner.
There's nothing important.
Yeah. Oh, there is one thing though. They basically, these 3 people or 2, whatever. The main character becomes a work slave.
Yeah.
And so there's scenes of them in cages and then all chained up together, walking through courtyards to go do work and stuff, and it's all very sad and whatnot. And so there's several scenes of them being trudged along, but there's one scene that was so, Did you catch the scene where the aliens have these hovercraft things, and one of them's just cruising along. There's a column of the slave workers. They're just cruising along. There's nothing
like the silo.
out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And then there's this gigantic smokestack chimney thing.
Yeah,
and
from like a power plant.
One of these hovercrafts just fucking runs right into it and keeps flying, and the gigantic chimney just falls on all of them and kills a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, there's so many things like that just didn't make any sense in this movie.
At one point, there is one little mini scene of an older guy who's chained up. He's worked so hard that he falls down at one point, and the guard that's next to him gets pissed off and takes a swipe at him. He just this gigantic backhand swing because he's mad. Yeah. Totally fucking misses. I mean, just completely
he totally
misses by a mile, and
they just kept it in.
They kept it in. And so during this, the thing crashes down, and the main guy finds a brick and breaks his shackles and runs away. This is the second or third time he's done this. He's escaped and then runs away, and every single alien just watches him. They watch him do it, and they don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
And every time he runs into the John Travolta character, because he's the main guy.
He's the head of security or something for the planet.
And
his name's Turl.
Turtle. Okay, so there's a few separate plot elements here. There's the humans that are oppressed and enslaved, and their planet's been taken over. There's the alien side, the Cyclos side. That
they all just want to get off the planet.
Yeah, they hate Earth. They're the only reason they're there is to mine the natural resources and then get out. They've done this countless times around the galaxy and universe, I guess. And the main security guy, John Travolta, he's been here what he thinks is long enough, and he's ready for his next assignment in a more prestigious assignment or something.
First of my class
at space school. I've been learning how to do inter-universe politics. And did you?
He does the same laugh over and over in that stupid movie.
He says the word leverage over a dozen times in this movie. The whole thing for him is
your leverage against me.
To find leverage against everyone. Yeah. Ha ha ha! Humans getting leverage over me? Ridiculous. He has this little secretary or henchman person or something, played by Forrest Whitaker, who is the dumbest,
like a cat.
The dumbest character in any movie I've seen, because they have this relationship where the main guy is going to get off planet soon. He's going to. His post will be done, and then his little secretary is going to take over as security guard. They've been working hand in hand the whole time, and the security guard or he's his little protege or something. Well, Travolta gets screwed by some other space nerds, and
do you remember why he got screwed?
Something with the senator's daughter or something.
Yeah, like they just totally bash him. It's like, you're going to be here for 50 more cycles or something like that. And then all of a sudden they're walking out and he's like, I didn't know she was the senator's daughter.
Yeah. Too bad. You messed up.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, his henchman buddy still wants his job or something. And so there's 3 or 4 times during the movie where the henchman tries to screw the boss and fails every single time. And it's all about leverage. He's trying to learn how to get leverage over the boss. And it ends up being a lesson in how he failed to get leverage.
Yep.
Every single time.
And then also John Travolta's character is trying to figure out how can I incentivize the humans?
Oh my God.
I'm going to incentivize them with food. Let's have them run off. So he lets 3 of them go, including Johnny Goodboy. And he lets them like go off, and it's like it's been 3 days and they haven't eaten anything. And then like they're in the mountains and they get to some town and they're in some theater or something and they see rats. And so they like scramble to get the rat and they don't have a fire or anything. So Johnny Goodboy starts like eating it and they're like, oh, they picked a rat. That dummy, hey, that's the food he likes.
Yeah.
And then while they're sitting there, like they have these little button cameras on each one of them, so they know they could track them. So that's why they let them go, so they can still follow them. And then the Johnny boy sees like one of them move, so he breaks all of them. And they're like, "Ah, shucks, they figured it out." And then all of a sudden, the next scene is they show up. Like the alien guy showed up. John Travolta shows up on his space thing, and they're like sitting on this cliff. And he's mad that they figured it out, but they still caught him. I mean, it didn't take any time at all.
This didn't make any sense. They let 3 humans go.
Yeah.
Okay, specifically 3 humans. They catch them all. So they're all back in the ship. And then the dumbass sidekick is looking over the mountain, over this cliff, and says, one of them got away. They must be able to fly. And John Travolta says, what? Like in the movie, he's even thinks that it's the dumbest thing he's heard. And now humans can't fly. Well, just because you haven't never seen them doesn't mean they can't not fly or something. And he says, well, okay, let's do an exercise, I guess. So he takes one of them and throws him off the cliff and he doesn't fly, obviously. And he says this line where, that's why I've graduated first in my class in universe school, and you are a lowly bartender or whatever. It doesn't, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But they caught all 3 of the people they let go, and the idiot says one of them got away.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so those guys get away, and the way he figures out that he thinks they want a rat. So they take him back. And they take Johnny Boy and they strap him into this weird room and into this chair. And then there's this hologram of some like dead alien that's like, oh, I'm a slave and I'm going to teach you the language of Cyclo. But if you're hearing this, I'm already dead. And then the next thing is they turn him around and there's just like this light and it just shoots a stream into his head, into his eyes, and it's like teaching him the language of Cyclo and all of their learnings that they've gotten from all of time. Like they're making him like a super genius.
It's a hooked on phonics brainwave for him to learn their language. It's like the Matrix, right? When he gets hooked up and learns all these skills.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my God, this scene was
kung fu.
His scene was okay. Yeah, the version of or the equivalent version of when Neo says, I know kung fu. In this movie, he gets put back with the other humans and he says, I know mathematics. I know interdimensional time travel and space travel. And the other humans say, what do you mean? What is that? Those words mean nothing to us. Oh, okay. And he starts drawing stuff.
You a triangle.
He draws a fucking triangle. That's the summation of his brainwave knowledge in intergalactic space travel. He draws a triangle.
All the sides are the same length, which means all the angles are the same. It's a triangle.
It's a triangle. This is how we will defeat the Cyclones. So somehow he just can go freely back to this thing or something. He gets more brainwaves.
He keeps faking like he doesn't understand the language, I think, so he can keep learning more because he realizes like the more he sits there, the more he's learning about Cyclo and like all their secrets and their weaknesses and stuff.
Okay.
So that's why he keeps doing it. But he like immediately, like after the first one, devises some plan where he's going to take over and trick these guys.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work because they don't know how.
It's amazing, the setup for this, right? Okay, so while he's doing his brainwave stuff, John Travolta hits his head on the ceiling and gets all pissed off. And he says this phrase twice. Oh, why is this crap lousy ceiling the way this is? I have asked for this to be moved several times now. This crap lousy ceiling. And he says, let's get some man animals. That's what they call humans. Let's get some man animals in here and get this ceiling fixed. And first of all, the place that they're in is whatever the aliens made, right? They made their own infrastructure on top of the
That's like
human
giant cement
stuff, right? So they made it, however, to whatever spec that they usually have. And randomly, he hits his head on the ceiling and gets all pissed off about it. And so 2 or 3 scenes later, they've taken these humans out and beat them and worked them and taken them out to a gold mine or something and then taken them back. And so a few scenes later, when they're about to hatch their plan to escape, they've hidden some guns and stuff. It's them working on the ceiling. They're actually working on this fucking ceiling to make it lower or something. And they hatch their plan and then they didn't have enough leverage or something. And they get caught.
Again, so this is one of the scenes where it kind of like sets up for the rest of the movie, and then we'll kind of breeze through the rest. But like, so he gets taken. They foil the plan, so he's taking him out. Turld says, "You know where I'm going to take you to show you what happened to your people." And he takes him to the Denver Library. And then Johnny Boy gets to just sit there and read books like all day. And he's like reading the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
Yep.
And then the next scene is he's out. They fly to this field. And John Travolta's character is like pushing him out. And he's like, I'm going to show you. I was a top marksman in my class. And he's shooting his little hand pistol. And then he does a behind the back and fires it and is just laying down all these cows in a field.
He says, I am a top marksman. I can hit a gnat
hit you
at
from
1,000 paces. And he's shooting cows 20 feet away to demonstrate how good he is. And then all of a sudden, these other humans come out of nowhere and attack him. And then they gain their leverage, I guess. And so he got the gun and he could kill him. And the other humans realize that Johnny knows the language. And then they say, Johnny mounts this very heroic speech and says, we have to take our planet back. There's no other way. We're endangered now. We will die out unless we take back the planet from the cyclones. And he rallies the troops and these people he just met. And they say, yeah, we stand with you forever. We'll fight with you. We'll fight with you forever to the death. And they all leave.
They all just leave.
And he gives the gun back.
He gives Curl the gun back. And he's like, I could kill you right now, but I've got leverage.
Dummy.
So they take over, and the girl that he had given the medicine to in the beginning is like his girlfriend or something, and she went out to find him later on. And they captured her. So then he's like, I'll mine gold for you. We'll find all the gold you need. Please don't hurt her. Well, she's got this thing around her neck that basically has a explosive, so he can just push a button and blow her head off. And so, I mean, now they're back in prison. One of the guys one of his guys in his group got their head blown off. Yeah. Another one.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to prove a point or whatever to make sure he was true. So and he's in prison. The boys are trying to like support him, be like, it's not your fault that guy died. Like we have a bigger mission. And then he just takes his little knife, cuts off a piece of his hair, and just hands it to one of the guys.
They never talk about hair. He cuts off his hair and gives it to his brother or something. The brother of the guy who died.
There's no relevance to it at all. But then this is the scene right after when Travolta's with his wife, who plays this like secretary or something, and he's like, she's more than just smarts, and then all of a sudden she sticks her tongue out.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so they're at the bar, and the sidekick is sitting next to him, and then the woman shows up, right? And he says, "Kroll, meet
Tricks or something. I don't know."
He says, "Kroll, meet Troll." Like he forgot the line or something. Just had to make something on the spot. I think he says he says Krull meet troll. But yeah, then she does the tongue thing or whatever.
Yeah, it was just like,
whatever.
what is happening?
I
mean, it all go like, I mean, after this. So one thing, like the guy that's in charge of the planet his name is, they call him Planet Ship. Like what kind of name is that? Like, what is that? So the guy in charge of this whole thing is like, he's like fat. He's got these huge jowls that hang down like over his chest.
Yep.
And his name is Planet Ship. And all he cares about is gold. Like he just keeps stealing money.
Yeah.
Like he steals money. He keeps saying that they're not making a profit because he keeps taking all the gold for himself.
Yeah.
But somehow he gets blackmailed into letting humans mine for them. And then
because there's this understory of they find John Travolta finds gold in this irradiated area of Earth that the aliens can't go to because they're more sensitive to radiation or something. And so they devised this plan where, how are we going to get this gold and not have
people dying?
Planet Ship know about it. And so they said, well, we can use the humans to mine it for us. And which I guess is against the rules to teach them how to mine, or for some stupid reason.
Teach them anything. Yeah.
Because these aliens also have their own working class that they overwork, that they never show. And so, but this gets back to the double, triple crossing that the sidekick tries to do, because JT records him and his sidekick talking about how they're going to get humans to mine for the gold.
Yep.
And there's this whole thing about how that he's recording their conversations without the other guy knowing about it.
Yep.
And so then the sidekick gets his hands on the recording and makes a copy. And the interaction is, yo, we better readdress this arrangement that we have with this gold that we're going to get. You said 80-20 to you. I'm thinking 80-20 to me. And John Travolta says, what? What are you talking about? Yo, I got this recording of you talking about how using the humans, which I came up with, is actually my idea, saying it was your idea, but because it's against the rules, it's my idea. But because there's leverage, it's actually your idea. Yeah, I got the recording of all that. And so I'm good. And he says, and John Travolta pulls out a gun and says, you better think twice about that. And the sidekick says, no, it's because I leverage or something, and I made a copy. And I gave it to someone, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. And John Travolta says, tell me who it is. And he says, you taught me too well, Bryan. I'm not going to tell you who it is. And then it's a minute or more of John Travolta guessing character names that you don't know and never see. And he says, nah, man, that's not any of those. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. And then it's John Travolta pulling out the head of the guy who he gave the copy to, because he already had a recording of him giving the recording to the guy. And said, you don't have enough leverage, man. You got to keep learning. And he says, okay, yeah, you got me good. And he blows his hand off or something. And he says, you got me good.
And he just stares at it like,
So it's all about gold for some reason. And like,
well, yeah. So like they get trained to fly. They get trained where they have to go mine, which is on a cliff.
Yeah. The human gets trained to fly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Johnny's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not going to go on the side of a cliff. I read in a book, there's this place called Fort Knox. I'm just going to take all the gold. So they go to Fort Knox, find the gold, fly it over. They're like, we'll keep half for us, give half to him. And the guy's like, whoa, like, why are these in bars? And they're like, well, we thought it was only right. We didn't think you wanted, natural ore. So he's like, well, I want the same amount in half the time.
Yeah,
then they go.
He says, how the f did you learn how to smelt and have the time to smelt gold into bars? And he goes, bruh, we just did it. And
There's nothing. He's like, whatever. I just want the gold, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then the next scene is they're at Fort Hood, and they're trying to load up on these weapons, and there's like all these planes and stuff, and it's year 3000. I assume that it was like 1,000 years ago that they lost this war. They don't really talk about that, so I have no idea. But they're like all these planes and stuff in hangars, and they run into this flight simulator for airplanes, and they're like, "We got 7 days to learn how to fly. Can you do it?" It was like piece of cake.
Yep.
Piece of cake.
Okay, remember, these are cavemen. Johnny is the only one that had the brainwave and can learn the...
Yeah, literally all primitive. Before this, they were wearing hides and fighting and killing things with sticks.
Yep. And so they have 7 days to hatch this plan. So the plan is, we didn't talk about the fact that the home planet Cyclone is accessible to the Cyclones via this transporter.
Yeah, teleporter.
And so the plan is they're going to take a nuke out of this old army base and teleport it to the home planet and blow it up.
Because the atmosphere is perfect for like the nuke to absorb the.
Oh, that's why? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because one nuke would not blow up a planet normally. So
Spoiler
I think it was
alert,
because
one little tiny warhead the size of a backpack blows up the entire planet of Cyclone.
Which they mention is really big. They talk about how small Earth is. So we're talking like Jupiter.
It blows up Jupiter plus a moon to nothing. And so they have 7 days to figure this out. 20 or more learn how to fly fighter jets. And so the 2-stage plan is they got to blow the dome at Denver so the aliens would suffocate, even though they all have these stupid little nose rings that can help them breathe.
Yep.
And teleport the nuke to Cyclone.
I mean, this next part is like, it's like 20 minutes of this battle.
It's 20 minutes of slow-mo battle footage.
Yeah, so they're trying to get it. Everybody's doing their job. All these humans got freed from Johnny, and they're like trying to fight against these big guys. There's a guy named Carlo who's one of the original 3. He's got a bomber and he's going for the dome.
My God.
He blows it up, and it like it like shakes the glass and it cracks, but it doesn't break.
Yeah. Okay. He plants bombs, blows up one section of a dome. The dome is the size of the city of Denver, right?
Right.
And so they were thinking that it would be a chain reaction, and it just kind of splinters the rest of the glass. They need the dome to be gone or something.
It has to fall for them to. Well, I think because all the guys would fall too, so that would kill them.
Okay. So he then crash lands he says originally, step 1, I'm going to blow the dome. I have to do it. I'm blowing the dome. He explodes his little bombs. Nothing happens. He gets in his hovercraft, leaves. They say, bro, you got to blow the dome. He says, I'm going to blow the dome. He crashes his speeder into the dome. Nothing happens.
He's hanging there.
He's hanging there.
The front fell off, and he's hanging strapped in, just looking at the dome from above.
And then he happens to crash land into an area of identical amounts and types of explosives. And he has this little RPG that he launches at the explosives, and he says, I'm going to blow the dome. He says, I'm going to blow the dome 3 times.
3 times. Yeah. He just kept saying it.
I'm going to blow the dome. And then he finally blows the dome. And whatever. They launch the
blows
nuke.
up. Everything falls down. Also, the guys learned how to fight fighter jets, so they're there just cruising around, shooting down the alien ships.
Picking off hovercrafts.
Which, in a scene earlier, Turl Travolta specifically says, we captured your planet in 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Despite the weapons and machines a human have, they were so primitive to us.
Yep.
And then here they are with their regular planes just blowing down all the stuff, and they're using their normal weapons, and they're blowing up the dome.
1,000-year-old planes with 1,000-year-old gas just cruising through
Purring
Denver.
like a kitten, baby.
Yep.
And everything's falling down. And this is a scene where like things are falling in different speed. Did you notice this? There are giant chunks of like cement stuff falling from the sky, and it's going in slow motion. Yeah. And right next to it, there's these pieces of glass that are just going, and they're all going in different speeds. It just didn't make any sense.
And yeah, all while there's this battle going on when they have a few lookouts or one lookout who's kind of coordinating where all the bad guys are. And at one point he says, "Yeah, I got 5 of them on you. They're coming right for you and they're going fast." And it cuts out wide angle lens to the aliens walking on their stilts. They're just barely moving on their stilts, just waddling. There's no sense of urgency whatsoever.
I'm sure you couldn't run in those with those stilts.
I know.
So anyways, everything falls. And Johnny and Turl are fighting right before the dome blows, and he blows off Turl's arm because he straps a device to it. The guy gets teleported to Cyclone and blows up the planet.
Yep.
And then the next scene is Turl is sitting there like with gold all around him in a cage.
No. Did
I miss something?
It's then this is all happening at night, and then the next scene after the planet blows up is daylight. All of the aliens are gone, right? So they needed to coordinate this attack because they knew that when they blew the dome, the head planet was going to send a legion of troops to recapture or as a security alert, right? So they needed to coordinate the detonation of the nuke before the legion got sent to Earth. And you very clearly see the entire legion of this Cyclone army get teleported, and then the nuke goes off. And the next scene is back at Earth when there's no Cyclones whatsoever.
Okay, I was wondering that because there were two things that did go transport, and then everything else blew up. Okay. Yep, I do remember that.
Yeah, and then they imprison whoever
Turl
in Fort Knox with the rest of his gold, and his genius final 5D chess leverage over John Travolta, the human, is, "I'm keeping you alive. You know why? Because I got your recordings saying that you were going to use humans to mine this gold and that you were going to take the gold. And if there's any other Cyclones, because this is a universe spanning alien civilization, right? And they just blew up one planet. So he thinks, yeah, man, when the other Cyclones get here, they're not going to mess with us because I got these recordings of you saying there's gold here and you're going to be trapped in this vault of gold to show them that we mean business." And John Travolta says, "Too bad for you. I have the leverage because my sidekick has a gun pointed right at you." And it's the dumbass with the gun saying, walking into Fort Knox saying, "That's right, boss. We got the humans and all this gold." And then the human says, "I got the leverage because my inside man, who was your inside man, was actually my inside man the whole time because I gave him the recordings who said you have the recordings, which the bartender had the recording who said you have the recordings." And it's the sidekick giving the human the gun. And he says, "Sorry, boss, I got the final leverage. Working with these humans means I'm going to be the top Cyclone on this planet." He's literally the only Cyclone on the planet.
And then the final scene when they walk out and then it like pulls back and it's CGI
pulls back
of like Fort Knox and the gold, and it's
gold on top of gold on top of gold on top of gold. It's like
the visuals kind of reminded me of GoldenEye when you're in the temple, like the colors and stuff.
Yep. Or it reminded me of one of those whatever Indiana Jones movie was where they put the Ark of the Covenant in that pallet box, and it turns out, or it pans out, and it's just one of thousands of these anonymous pallet boxes, but it's just so much fucking gold in this. For what?
Well, at first you think it's just one vault of gold.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like a whole just warehouse of gold.
And so, I mean, we're talking about an intergalactic, inter-universe spanning highly advanced alien civilization that conquers countless planets for their natural resources. And you're going to tell me that they didn't know about Fort Knox and all this gold just sitting around?
What? They have a scanner that goes over landforms and it
Yeah.
can tell you where the gold is.
Yeah.
Like, how hard would it be? Like, you know what? We found this giant. It's like they were only looking in Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah. The human spends one afternoon in the library and learns about Fort Knox and hatches this scheme.
Which John Travolta goes and shows him. Like John Travolta acts like he already knows everything about humans.
Yep. Yeah. And so he takes him to the library so that he could read anything to learn, basically to show him, look at how advanced humanity was with all their physics and technology and weaponry. And we conquered them in 9 minutes. And it's literally a montage of him reading the Declaration of Independence to learn how advanced humanity was at their peak.
Yep.
Whatever, man.
And that's the movie.
Let's
I mean,
stop
that's
talking
it.
about this. This is.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a movie this bad. Gotta be honest.
Especially
for the budget and the amount of people, amount of money. Like, I can't believe John Travolta did this. And the dialogue, like we've mentioned multiple times, they kept using the same phrases over and over.
Yeah.
Leverage,
crap lousy.
I'm gonna blow it up.
I'm gonna blow it up. Okay, score time. As a reminder, this is the Ascension to 10 podcast. 11 point.
I mean, there is no other score that can be given to this.
I think you have
other
to know
than
what's
Ascension.
coming. 2 Ascensions.
Ascensions.
Yep. I gave it an Ascension. Spenny gave it an Ascension. Tremors 6 looks like an Oscar-winning or worthy movie compared to this.
At least it had some funny parts, and they were creative with it. Like this was a
serious
level.
movie.
They wanted to make this into 2.
Oh, I didn't know
because
that.
the book was so long. John Travolta initially wanted to make this into 2. That didn't happen.
Oh man. This is literally the worst thing I've ever seen.
I understand now why people never finished it. Because if you watch this until John Travolta's character shows up, I would be like, no, I'm good. I don't need to see this.
Yeah.
Because nothing happens.
Nothing happens. And so
the dialogue is so bad.
I watched it. The first time I sat down to watch it, I got through 30 minutes of it and I had to stop. And I came back to it the next night and was just so bummed that I had another hour and a half to go.
I can't tell you how much I dreaded watching this movie after. I try not to look at trailers, read reviews or anything before we do these movies. But even when I was renting it and I'd rented it off Amazon, it gives you the score from IMDb. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is not going to be good.
And it's not even
there wasn't anything. It wasn't even funny.
I know.
It wasn't even funny bad. That's the worst part.
Yeah. We've been able to.
Tremor 6 was funny.
Yeah. We've been able to laugh at how bad these movies have been. But this is another level of. It took itself seriously. I think that's what the main problem was.
Yeah. No one knew they were in a comedy and they were playing serious. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any final words on this aspect of it or on the movie?
No. Let's move on. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yep. We are officially done with Battlefield Earth.
Thank God.
We cannot not recommend it.
No way, man. No one should watch it.
No one should. Let alone pay $4 to rent it.
Yep.
Well, I have a typical day. Before that, though, do you want to tease next week?
No, go ahead. Do your typical day, and then we'll tease the...
So I need to preface this typical day with the typical days that I've shared to date have been
Food.
inconsequential, right? They don't matter. And I don't want this typical day story to sound like I am upset about it. Okay. Because nothing needs to change about what this scenario was. I'm not asking for anything here. It is a funny story that would happen to me. But I'm not complaining about it. Okay. I want to make that up front.
Sure.
Okay. It is funny though. So a couple weeks ago, in the beginning of March, I got an email from the chancellor, the new chancellor of the place that I work has a university side and a medical center side that became two separate entities a few years ago. And so the new chancellor of the university sent out an email to all of the postdocs, which was what I am, staff, faculty, announcing that everyone was going to get a $1,500 bonus award for their March paychecks for their courageous approach to tackling the last 2 years of the pandemic.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Makes sense. Yeah. That's great.
Love it. They deserve it. That's great. I am a postdoc that is appointed from the university, but I am a medical center employee. The other thing you should know is that as far as I know, I am the only postdoc working in the only coronavirus lab on campus.
Okay.
There's other people doing COVID research. I want to make that clear.
Sure.
There's plenty of people doing COVID research, but I am the only postdoc working on coronaviruses.
Okay.
On the entire campus. I don't get this award because I'm employed by the medical center. Even though my appointment is through the university.
What? So you're literally the only person that didn't get it, you think?
Well, all the other postdocs that are part of the medical center also don't get it. And the faculty members and the staff of the medical center
but you were on the
don't
email.
Get this. But I got the email. I'm appointed from the university. I am a postdoc. I do work on coronaviruses, and I don't get the $1,500 award for courageous work throughout the pandemic. And so,
typical day.
again, I'm not mad about it, and I don't want to take away from the people who do get it. And there's plenty of other people that don't get it.
But if you're on an email and you're not getting it, I think it's kind of. But it's still a hard pill to swallow.
Hard pill to swallow, and it would happen to me. I don't get it.
Typical day.
Typical day. It's okay though.
Yeah. Jeez, Jad. That's funny.
So
sucks, but funny.
Yep. That's all right.
Yep. All right. Well,
okay.
I'm tired of watching terrible movies.
Okay.
So we need a break.
Okay.
So I am going to say we are going to watch what I think is a really good movie. I remember watching it. It's been a little while, but I think it still holds up. We're going to watch Fifth Element.
Okay. All right.
What's your problem?
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a change of pace, but I've always thought that movie was dumb.
Oh, great.
So this will be good though.
Well, I could pick a different one.
No, this will be inherently more enjoyable than the.
Well, I bet. Well, maybe
watched.
we'll actually have some different opinions on it.
Yeah, we've been pretty in tune with everything.
We've been
so
in
far,
lockstep, so we need to get some spice in this group.
All right. Okay. Well,
as always, before we go, you can find us at Ascension, the number 2, TEN.com. Same for our socials, which are also in the description. Go out and like, review, click the little subscribe button so you know when these new ones come out. And
if you want to write to us, reach out to us by email at boys@ascension10.com.
And we do have a few people that have sent us some recommendations. So we're going to try to work on kind of putting a episode together where we talk through some of those. So
yes,
that'll be coming in the future.
Yes, that will be in episodes like that will be special episodes where, especially if we get recommended movies that end up being good that we can't trash talk.
Yeah.
We'll do a segment or we'll do a show where we do 3 or 4 fan submitted suggestions and we'll make a special episode out of that. But those will happen periodically as we get recommendations. So,
yep.
But we have one in the books or one in the tank right now that we'll work on. So,
yep. All right.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yep. Until next time, I'm Spenny. He's Chad.
See ya.
Bye.